every night without resistance or hesitation. You repeat the same ancient ritual. You turn off the light, lie down, and allow your consciousness to slowly dissolve. No matter who you are, no matter what you believe, sleep takes you all the same. If you live to be 80 years old, nearly 25 years of your existence will be spent asleep. 25 years removed from the waking world. A quarter of your life spent in a state where you cannot act, decide, or remember. For hours at a time, you simply disappear. We usually call this rest. But rest may be the most misleading word we have ever invented. Sleep is not passive. It is not peaceful. It is a highly controlled biological process that evolution enforces with absolute authority. You cannot negotiate with it. You cannot delay it forever. Eventually, your brain will shut you down. The question is not whether sleep is necessary. The question is why it is so powerful, so invasive, and so universal across nearly all complex life on Earth. As you begin to fall asleep, a silent cascade of events unfolds inside your skull. The transition feels gentle, but the mechanism is anything but deep in the brainstem. Specialized neurons activate and release inhibitory chemicals that flood your spinal cord. These signals sever the connection between your brain and your muscles. This state is known as muscle atonia. It is total paralysis, imposed deliberately by your own nervous system. You are not losing control. Control is being taken from you. The reason is simple and terrifying. Your brain knows that what comes next is dangerous. Dreams are not faint images or abstract thoughts. They are full simulations. In dreams, your brain generates movement, sound, pain, fear, desire, and memory with the same neural circuits you use while awake. If your body were allowed to follow these commands, you would physically act out your dreams. You would run, fight, jump, and fall. So before the dream begins, your brain restrains you. You are locked inside your body like a prisoner before transport. At the same time, an internal cleansing begins. During deep sleep, brain cells shrink by up to 60%. This creates space between neurons, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to surge through the tissue. This fluid washes away toxic proteins, including beta amyloid, a substance linked to neurodegenerative diseases. Every thought you think produces waste. Sleep is the only time your brain can remove it. You are not resting. You are being dismantled and cleaned from the inside. Your sense of self does not survive this process intact. Consciousness fragments. Memory shuts down. The observer disappears. There is no you watching the maintenance happen. For several hours every night, the person you believe yourself to be does not exist. Sometimes, however, this system breaks in unexpected ways. In 1876, a 14-year-old girl named Carolina Olsen returned home from school complaining of a headache. She went to bed and did not wake up for 32 years. For over 3 decades, she remained in a state of profound sleep. She was fed liquid nourishment, cleaned, and monitored. When she finally opened her eyes in 1908, the world had transformed. Her mother had aged into an old woman. Her siblings were elderly. Entire generations had lived and died while she slept. Strangely, Carolina herself appeared decades younger than her true age. Her body had aged, but far more slowly than expected. Doctors could not explain where her mind had been. Did she dream for 32 years? Or did her consciousness simply vanish, suspended outside of time? A similar phenomenon appeared during the encephalitis lethargica epidemic of the early 20th century. Thousands of people entered states of frozen wakefulness. They sat, stood, or stared into space for years, sometimes decades. When some of them were revived with experimental treatments, they believed no time had passed at all. 50 years could disappear like a blink. Their internal clock had stopped. When the paralysis of sleep fails partially, a person can enter a state known as somnambulism or sleepwalking. In this condition, the body moves while consciousness remains offline. The eyes are open. The person can navigate rooms, avoid obstacles, even hold conversations. But there is no awareness behind the behavior. The body becomes an autonomous machine. One of the most documented cases is that of Lee Hadwin, a nurse with no artistic ability while awake. In his conscious state, he cannot draw even simple shapes. But while asleep, his hands produce complex and detailed artworks, portraits, animals, abstract scenes. He draws on walls, paper, furniture, whatever is nearby. When he wakes, he remembers nothing. The skill vanishes instantly. It is as if another mind borrows his body during the night. Sleepwalking can also reveal its most disturbing potential. In 1987, a Canadian man named Kenneth Parks drove more than 20 kilometers while asleep and committed a violent act against his relatives. Medical experts confirmed he was in a state of deep, non-conscious sleep. His brain initiated movement without awareness, intention, or memory. The court concluded that the person known as Kenneth Parks was not present at the time. If the body can act without the self, what exactly is the self? Beyond movement and memory, sleep sometimes appears to interact with time itself. There are documented cases in which dreams seem to reveal information that has not yet occurred. These cases are rare, but their consistency is unsettling. In the year 2000, a man dreamed of a specific sequence of numbers. His wife, Deng Pravatudong, believed the dream was meaningful. For 20 years, every single week, they played the same numbers in the lottery. 20 years of failure, 20 years of doubt. They lived modestly, often struggling financially, but they never changed the numbers. In 2020, during a period of global crisis and personal unemployment, the numbers finally matched. Exactly. $60 million appeared, aligned perfectly with a dream 2 decades old. Similar stories surface repeatedly. A woman dreams of glowing digits. A relative dreams of a symbol that translates into numbers. The probability of coincidence shrinks with each repetition. These events do not prove foresight, but they challenge the idea that the dreaming mind is isolated from future outcomes. Mark Twain once dreamed of his brother's death in precise visual detail. A metal coffin placed placed on chairs, surrounded by white flowers, with a single red flower at the center. Weeks later, the scene unfolded exactly as he had seen it, including the red flower placed by a stranger. Twain never claimed supernatural insight, but he never dismissed the experience either. Modern physics offers no comfortable answers. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that reality constantly branches into multiple outcomes. Every decision, every random event, creates divergent versions of the universe. In one branch, something happens. In another, it does not. What if the dreaming mind briefly loses its attachment to one branch and drifts across others? While awake, your brain operates within strict filters. Sensory input anchors you to a single narrative of reality. During sleep, these filters weaken. Neurochemistry changes. The brain becomes less focused on survival and more open to association. It may begin to access information not normally available during waking consciousness. This idea becomes even more unsettling when considering shared dreams. There are reports of twins, couples, and close friends experiencing the same dream on the same night. They describe identical locations, events, and conversations without prior discussion. These cases are rare, but persistent. If two minds can occupy the same dream environment, that environment may not be entirely private. The ancient philosopher Zhuangzi once dreamed he was a butterfly, flying freely without awareness of being human. When he woke, he questioned whether he was a man who had dreamed of being a butterfly, or a butterfly now dreaming he was a man. The question remains unanswered because it may be unanswerable. Right now, as you read these words, you feel certain that you are awake. But in dreams, certainty feels the same. False awakenings can trap people in recursive loops where they believe they have woken up, only to discover subtle impossibilities that reveal they are still dreaming. The mind is capable of simulating entire days with flawless detail. Consider the possibility that your life itself is a single, continuous dream, exceptionally stable, internally consistent, and shared with billions of others. A dream generated by a greater consciousness that fragmented itself to experience existence from every perspective at once. Individuality may be an illusion produced by memory and biology, and death in this framework would not be an ending, but a transition. The moment when the dream dissolves and awareness returns to its original state. The fear of death may simply be the fear of waking up too soon. As you approach sleep tonight, notice the moment when your sense of self begins to blur. The boundary where thoughts lose structure and identity loosens. That threshold is crossed every night, yet rarely observed. Where you go after that moment remains unknown. No matter how real the dream feels, one truth persists. Every dream ends. Eventually, the alarm sounds for everyone. When sleep deepens, the brain enters a state that is almost alien to waking life. electrical rhythms slow into long, rolling waves, synchronizing millions of neurons at once. Individual thoughts dissolve, personal identity weakens. The borders that normally separate memory, emotion, and imagination begin to blur. In this state, the brain no longer prioritizes logic or chronology. Instead, it builds meaning through symbols, fragments, and emotion. This is where dreams are born. Dreams are not random noise. Brain imaging shows that during dreaming, regions responsible for vision, movement, and emotion become highly active, while areas linked to critical thinking and self-control fall silent. You do not question the dream because the part of you that asks questions is offline. The dream is accepted as reality by default. This is why impossible things feel normal. Gravity fails, faces shift, time bends. The brain does not correct errors because it is no longer interested in accuracy, only immersion. Some researchers believe this state evolved as a survival simulator. In dreams, the brain rehearses threats without risking the body. Chase scenarios, falling, being trapped, losing loved ones, these themes appear across cultures and eras. Fear sharpens memory. By simulating danger, the brain may be training itself to respond faster when awake. But this explanation does not account for dreams that are deeply personal, abstract, or seemingly prophetic. Another theory suggests dreams are a byproduct of memory consolidation. During sleep, especially during REM phases, the brain replays fragments of recent experiences, integrating them with older memories. This helps stabilize learning and emotional processing. But once again, this does not explain why dreams often create entirely new narratives, people, and places that have no clear source in waking life. There are moments when dreaming crosses into awareness. Lucid dreaming occurs when the sleeping mind realizes it is dreaming. In this state, the dreamer can sometimes influence the environment, move intentionally, or observe the dream without fear. Brain scans show a partial reactivation of frontal regions normally associated with self-awareness. The mind becomes both actor and observer at once. Lucid dreamers often report a strange realization. The dream world feels as solid and convincing as waking reality. Textures can be felt. Pain can be experienced. Emotions are intensified. The only difference is stability. The dream world shifts easily, like a liquid version of reality. This raises an uncomfortable question. If the brain can generate a world indistinguishable from reality, how do we know which one we are in right now? Sleep paralysis exposes this uncertainty in its most terrifying form. During paralysis, the body remains locked in atonia while consciousness wakes up. The mind becomes aware, but the body does not respond. The result is panic, pressure on the chest, a sense of presence, hallucinations of figures watching, whispering, approaching. These experiences are strikingly similar across cultures, even among people who have never heard of sleep paralysis before experiencing it. Historically, these episodes were interpreted as demons, spirits, or night visitors. Today, we explain them neurologically. but explanation does not erase the experience. The brain, caught between worlds, produces a reality that feels invasive and external. The boundary between dream and waking life collapses. There are cases where this boundary never fully reassembles. Some people experience hypnagogic hallucinations, vivid dream imagery bleeding into waking perception. Others experience dissociation, where the world feels unreal, distant, or staged. These states suggest that our grip on reality is not as firm as we assume. It is actively maintained by fragile neural processes that can slip. Sleep deprivation reveals this fragility even more clearly. After prolonged lack of sleep, the brain begins to malfunction. Reaction times slow. Memory fragments. Hallucinations appear. People begin to dream while awake. The brain forces dream states into consciousness because it cannot sustain wakefulness any longer. Eventually, the sense of self collapses. Identity dissolves. Reality becomes unstable. This suggests that waking consciousness is not the default state of the brain. It is an artificial construction held together by sleep. Without sleep, the illusion of continuity breaks down. We rely on unconsciousness to remain conscious. Some neuroscientists propose that consciousness itself is not continuous, but flickers on and off rapidly, like frames in a film. Sleep may simply widen the gaps until awareness disappears entirely. From this perspective, the self is not a solid object, but a pattern, one that must be refreshed every day. There are moments in deep meditation where practitioners report experiences similar to dreamless sleep while remaining aware. No thoughts, no images, no sense of body, just presence. These reports resemble descriptions of deep non-REM sleep, where brain activity becomes minimal. This raises the possibility that awareness can exist without content, without identity. If so, the self may not be necessary for consciousness at all. Across cultures, sleep has been associated with death. Bodies lie still, eyes closed, breathing slowed. In many languages, the words for sleep and death are closely related. This association may not be symbolic, but intuitive. Every night, we practice a small disappearance. Every morning, we return. If death is the final sleep, then sleep may be a rehearsal for letting go. Each night, the brain releases control, dissolves identity, and trusts that continuity will be restored. This trust is rarely questioned, yet it is never guaranteed. There are people who fear sleep, not because of nightmares, but because of the loss of control. To sleep is to surrender, to allow the mind to go somewhere unknown, to accept that you will be unconscious while the world continues without you. And yet, everyone must do it. Perhaps the most unsettling thought is not that dreams feel real, but that reality feels stable. Stability is the exception, not the rule. The brain works constantly to maintain a coherent world. When that effort stops, even briefly, everything changes. Tonight, when you fall asleep, the same processes will begin. paralysis will take hold. Memory will loosen. Identity will fade. The observer will disappear. Where you go after that is not recorded. You will wake up believing nothing happened, but something always does. Sleep does not simply turn you off. It takes you somewhere. And whatever that place is, you return from it every morning, carrying fragments you barely remember, yet cannot fully escape. Eventually, one night, the return may not happen. Until then, the cycle continues. Night after night, disappearance and return, dream and waking, question and forgetting. For now, let the darkness come. Let the borders dissolve. Let the self loosen its grip. Sleep is waiting.